Hello, board game brothers and sisters. I'm Adam Singer, and welcome to another episode where I'll be letting you know of Kickstarters launching this week. Before we get started, I do want to mention that we are doing a giveaway right now, and this is going to be for any games of your choice up to $100 off of Kickstartergames.com. And I'm going to be contributing $50 personally towards this giveaway, and then Kickstartergames.com is going to be matching me on that. So I really want to commend them for getting involved with the channel the way that they have. And I know that a lot of my viewers are from all over the world, and I want to make sure that everyone is involved with this, but Kickstartergames.com only ships to the USA. But they're going to make an exception this time so that everyone can get involved with this giveaway. So that's just another example of them being really awesome. But the awesomeness doesn't stop there, because you can go ahead and get 15% off your entire cart over at Kickstartergames.com just by using the coupon code ShelfClutter. So if there's a game that you've been looking to get, go ahead and use this coupon code and save yourself some money. And to enter this giveaway, all you have to do is join the Discord. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, and just check out the giveaways channel, and I'll have a little post just like this one. And all you have to do is click this little emoji here, and that'll automatically enter you into the draw. And in honor of also just hitting 3,000 subscribers here on this channel, which is also awesome, and I want to thank everyone for helping us get here, I'm going to let this giveaway run for 3 weeks. So go check it out on the Discord, go click that emoji, and come say hello. And with that said, let's check out the Kickstarters. And the first set of games we have launches on April 5th, and the first one we have is Mythic Battles Ragnarok. And this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And this is a Viking-themed board game that takes players through an epic battle between gods and mortals. And this can be played either as a skirmish game, or it can be played as an epic campaign game. And if you're familiar with Monolith games, you know that they're going to come with some really nice artwork and some really nice miniatures. And this game is no exception. This is going to offer some very detailed miniatures in quite a few different sizes. And something that's really awesome about Monolith is that they've been very active in the forums. If you go ahead and check out the forums here on BGG, you'll see that they're showing a few different sneak peeks of the boards, the miniatures, and they even dive a little bit into the lore. And this one's going to be my pick of the week. And the reason I'm picking this one is because Monolith does have a very good track record for creating games that people like. And they have an even better track record of creating very nice miniatures. So if you do like minis and you like painting them like I do, this is definitely one that you want to check out. And since they already did come out with Mythic Battles Pantheon in the past, this is going to be an iteration on that. So I can only assume that it's going to be a little bit more streamlined and probably a little bit better of a game. And one thing that Monolith isn't known for is having good rulebooks. But this is something that they seem to recognize, and they've talked openly about in different forums. And I think it's something that they have addressed, and I'm really expecting the rulebook for this game to be quite a lot better than some of those in the past. At least I'm really hoping it goes that way, so Monolith, don't let me down. But the real reason that this is my pick of the week is that there's something very special about Monolith games that is really cool, and it's really about the community that those games create. If you get into any of the games from Monolith, you'll see that the community is very active behind these games, and the thing that's really special about that is that this community will create their own scenarios and campaigns that you can just go ahead and download for yourself and play with your friends. And that's just a really cool thing that I don't really see with any other publishers, and it's something that I'd love to see more, honestly. And it's really cool that all this extra content being created and shared is going to give you so much extra content to your game, going way beyond what the publisher had planned. And if any of that sounds interesting to you, I have links to all the campaigns I'm covering in the description below, where you can go ahead and check out their campaign page and subscribe to the launch. And the next campaign we have is Hippocrates, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 90 to 120 minutes to play. And this one's our Discord pick of the week, and for good reason. It's from the designer Elaine Orban, who also created some really great games like Black Angel and Trois. And this game takes place back in 370 BCE on the island of Kos. And if you're wondering who Hippocrates is, he's known as the father of medicine, and he's recognized for his contributions to the field for things like the use of prognosis and clinical observations, as well as starting the systematic categorization of different diseases. And in this game, players are disciples of Hippocrates, and they're going to be leading the team of doctors in order to carry on the legacy. Players are going to be trying to increase their notoriety so that patients from all over the Mediterranean recognize your treatment as the best. The game lasts for 4 rounds, each divided into 5 different phases. And I'm going to be practicing my Greek here a little bit, because the first phase is called Colossei, and this is the phase where players are going to be welcoming and triaging up to 3 patients into their treatment. And you're going to want to treat the patients that need the treatment the most, because these are going to get you the most notoriety in the game. And the next phase is called Piromi, and this is the phase where you need to pay your doctors so that they don't leave you for another job. And the third phase is called Stratologisi, and this is the phase where you can hire new doctors and also buy medicine kits. And if you manage to obtain both of those in this phase, you're going to get a bonus. And the fourth phase is called Therapia, and this is where players are going to be matching their doctors to the appropriate patients. And the better that you can match your doctors to your patients, the more efficient you're going to be, which is going to grant you more victory points and notoriety. And finally, the last phase is called Exes, where players count their victory and notoriety points and prepare the board for the next round. This game uses a variety of mechanisms, but the main ones are going to be auction bidding, tile placement, and resource management. And if your tastes align very much with Rado's tastes, I think this is one that you'll definitely want to check out, because I know this is a game that ranked very highly on one of his recent videos. And the next few games are going to be launching on the 6th, and the first one we have is Scrumpy Card Cider, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 40 to 80 minutes to play. And this is a game of deck manipulation and creating cider. Players are going to be deck building and using cards to gain apples and wood to convert into barrels of cider. Players are going to be developing their cidery and improving production while trying not to overproduce. This game does deck building a little bit differently than a lot of other deck builders that you might have played. The first difference is that the cards you're going to be deck building are also used as resources in the game. So as you're producing things, you're going to have to use those cards to represent the production. These cards also have a secondary action, so if you aren't happy with the options available, you can always use that card for its secondary action. And players represent the owners of these cideries, and they'll always be able to play an action each round without having to play a card to perform that action. Because the owner is not as good at a task as someone who is hired and dedicated towards that task, these actions are going to be less efficient, but a free action is a free action. Players are going to be selling their produced cider to different distributors, and the player with the most money and prestige at the end of the game wins. And the next campaign we have is Vowl, the game of letters gone astray. And this is a game that I've already covered twice in previous videos, so I'm not going to go into as much detail with this one. But basically this is a party game where players are put on 2 different teams, and players are going to be racing to guess different words with vowels removed, and the game's going to get harder and harder as the game goes on. And the next campaign we have is Empyreal Spells and Steam, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 30 to 75 minutes to play. And this is a reprint of a game that was released last year, and players will be using magic and trains to traverse a mystical world. Players are going to be expanding their network by creating routes to different cities and locations to gather and deliver exotic goods. Each contract a player fulfills is going to help their company and introduce new abilities that they can use throughout the game. This campaign will include the deluxe edition of the game, as well as the expansion As Above, So Below. And the new thing that's going to be added to this campaign is a mini expansion called Empyreal Far Corners, and this is going to include new metros and specialists that you can add to the game. And the next campaign we have is EOS Island of Angels, and this plays 2 to 5 players and takes about 90 to 120 minutes to play. And EOS is an island that has a void where demons can enter this world. Years ago, the angels held them at bay, but the demons imprisoned the angels in stone. This is an engine builder worker placement where players are going to be commanding their own unique asymmetrical crew, and players are going to be sailing the island, contending with demons, and awakening the angels. Players will also be upgrading their ship and crew as they progress on their journey, and all these different things are going to be gaining a player victory points, and the player with the most victory points wins the game. And the next campaign we have is Scrap Racer, and this plays 2 to 6 players and takes about 20 to 45 minutes to play. And this is a push your luck dice racing game where your goal is to cross the finish line first. In this game, players will be rolling their dice in order to move along the track and playing cards in order to manipulate those dice. Rolling doubles can cause you to crash, but it also grants you some special bonus cards which, if used properly, can help you make up for lost time. This is a game where 2 players can never be on the same space, so if that ever happens, a duel is triggered to figure out which player moves ahead and which player stays in that space. The game plays over 3 laps, and the first player over the finish line wins. And next we have AuZtralia, Revenge of the Old Ones, and this plays 1 to 5 players and takes about 45 to 150 minutes to play. And this is an expansion to the game AuZtralia, which takes place back in the 1930s in an alternate reality. And this is a cooperative game where players are trying to expand and settle, all in a world where Cthulhu is rising from the depths. And this game was originally only for 4 players, but this expansion is adding that 5th player because 1 player will now be able to control the forces of the Old Ones. This player is going to be able to summon all sorts of creatures from the void and be able to decide where they want to deploy those forces. This is going to create a lot more havoc for the other players. The original game has a really nice rating with a 7.4 on BGG, so if you're interested in this game but you're looking for more competitive elements, this might be an expansion that you'd be interested in. This campaign is also going to offer another expansion called the Tasmania expansion, and this is going to introduce a map that's specifically designed for 1 to 2 players. And the next few campaigns launch on the 7th, and for this first one I'm going to pretend I can speak Italian because it's called Arena Colossei, Ludi Gladiatorii. And this is an arena combat miniatures game where players are going to be choosing their combat techniques at the start of the game. And then at the beginning of a round, players are going to be simultaneously revealing cards in order to move and maneuver their gladiator, attempting to predict their opponent's movements. And once 2 or more gladiators encounter each other on the board, a combat is triggered. And this is also played with simultaneous reveal, but with using combat tiles that can be either attack or defense, and they may have other effects as well. Successfully landing or blocking attacks is going to move the crowd favor token towards your side, and the first player to move that token to their side wins the game. This game is going to have some very high quality miniatures, and the detail that you can see in these images is what you should expect in the final product. And the next campaign we have is another edition of HEXplore, and this one's called The Domain of Mirza Noctis, and this plays 1 to 6 players and takes about 60 to 180 minutes to play. And this game will be launching on GameFound, which I also have linked in the description below. And this is a cooperative hero building adventure board game toolkit. And this is both a standalone game and an expansion to the existing volumes, and in this game players are going to be creating their own hero by combining a role, a race, and something called aspects that's provided by the game. This combination is going to drive your hero's strengths, weaknesses, and it's going to define the special abilities that they have to use. All these different combinations allow for more replayability so that no 2 games feel quite the same. The villain in this game is going to be feeding on the population, and it's going to be up to the players to work together to find clues and stop the evil creature. Players are going to be choosing their own path and exploring a modular map which changes with each playthrough. Each game is going to offer some very different events, some controlled by the players and others occurring randomly. This game also features dynamic difficulty and play length so that players can decide exactly how long and difficult they want the game to be. Journey into the dark realm of Grasvitalia. And next we have Xenohunters, and this plays 3 to 5 players and takes about 30 to 90 minutes to play. And this is a 1 versus many board game where one player is going to be a terrifying flesh-eating alien, and the other players are all crew members trying to survive. Both teams are going to be hunting each other throughout the station and deciding when and when not to reveal themselves. The crew can collect some powerful sci-fi equipment in order to help hunt the alien, but rummaging around for this different equipment and supplies can be dangerous because any mistakes can leave you visible for all to see. But the alien's not going to be easy to find either because it can crawl through different ducts throughout the ship, as well as lay eggs and command its minions in order to distract the humans. If the alien ever captures a human, it turns that human into a hybrid alien as well, and that human's going to start hunting on the alien's side. This game's going to be offering a lot of replayability with 4 core mission boards, as well as a variety of different gadgets and weapons to find throughout the game. And the next campaign we have is Boogeyman the board game, and this plays 1 to 7 players and takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. And this is a game where players are a group of children trying to survive the night while they try to outsmart their psychopathic babysitter as well as the Boogeyman himself. I don't have too much more info on this one, but it uses mechanisms like area movement, card drafting, a finale ending, and hidden movement. And on the 8th we have Space Plague, and this plays 1 to 4 players and takes about 45 to 90 minutes to play. And in this game, players are going to be controlling their own plague army, and they're going to be trying to gain full control of the planet. Every player is going to be starting with the same hand of starting cards, and these are going to be used in order to spawn, move, shield, or evolve your aliens. There's going to be different ecological environments and factors that add variability to each game, and each planet you conquer has its own style and defense mechanism that you're going to have to put up with. This game features a marketplace that's going to offer a variety of different evolutions to the players, and the evolutions that a player decides to go with is going to determine how well they fare when it comes to different planetary events that occur throughout the game. All while doing this, players are marching their plague soldiers to the core of the planet, and the player that gets the most of their soldiers there at the end of the game wins the game. The last campaign launches on the 9th, and it's called Koi Garden, and this plays 2 to 4 players and takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play. And this is a tile-laying card game where players are going to be scoring points based on their pond and the wildlife that they place around it. Finding balance between your wildlife and your pond is going to be the primary puzzle here, because as you build, your pond is going to change, and as you add more wildlife, the more obstacles you're going to have in the way of your pond. Moving wildlife through the pond gains you points, and the player with the most points at the end of the game wins the game. And those are all the campaigns I have for you this week, but don't leave yet because we have a pledge giveaway to announce for Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition. And this is a cooperative fixed deck card game where players are comic book heroes fighting against one of 4 villains in one of 4 dynamic environments. And in this game, each player has their own deck of cards that they're playing against the villain and the environment deck. On a player's turn, they can play a card from their hand, use a power printed on any of their cards in play, or draw a card from their deck. Each round starts with the villain's turn and continues clockwise around the table and then concludes with the environment's turn. The top card of the villain and the environment deck goes into play representing their turns. And the Definitive Edition updates almost everything to do with the game. You're going to get some new artwork, you're going to get some new writing, and you're going to even get a brand new box. And this giveaway is going to be for the Definitive Sentinels pledge, and this comes with the Definitive Edition core game as well as the promo pack with the foil cards. And to enter this giveaway, just leave a comment down below with the hashtag hero and let us know what your favorite comic book hero is. For me, it's probably Saitama from One Punch Man because it's hilarious to have this really kind but oblivious hero with a ridiculous amount of power. The humor is really great with it, and because he's so strong, he struggles with finding any challenges in the world. And there's some really nice touches with the way that he's animated because his character gets more detail the more serious that he gets, and less detail the more apathetic that he gets. So the animation scales with his attitude, which creates some really dumb, funny moments, and then some really serious, badass moments, all in the same series. Plus, he's a character that I can relate to. Now let's go ahead and draw the winner for last week's contest, which was a pledge for Hit the Silk, and I use this application here to draw a winner. And all these extra names down here are bonus entries from my Patreon subscribers. If you like this content, definitely check that out because it's the best way to support the channel. So let's go ahead and grab the comments and draw a winner. And the winner is Clint Cabrera. Congratulations, Clint. I'll get this pledge all sorted out for you. Everyone else, come join the Discord and make sure to congratulate Clint. You'll find him there. And he prefers that you congratulate him by sending him wrestling gifts. And that's it for this week. Until next time, keep those eggs colored and the table full. Happy Easter.